Currently I'm worth over 8 figures, and it's easy to assume that in order to amass this wealth, I must have started with loads of money. But actually, if you go back even 9 years ago, I was getting started with £33,000 in debt. So this video isn't about showing you how to get to 8 figures. It's showing you how you can go from 0 to your first 100 grand in, let's say, 12 to 18 months time. And there are some strategies where if you are low on funds, you can still get started. A lot of people assume that you need hundreds of thousands of pounds to get involved in property, and that's true if you want to buy-to-let properties, purchase a HMO, etc. But there are other ways to make faster money. You've got your fast money in property and your slow money in property. Your slow money is your long-term wealth building. For example, what got me to 8 figures is actually my slower money. So my assets, my loans, my blocks, whatever it is in my property portfolio goes up 7 figures at least every single year. The faster money is a job, a business, a hustle, a grind. And actually in property, so many people get in property to go into the slow money, but that's not how you should actually start. I think most people should be looking at the fast money. So what are the fast money strategies? And I will leave my favorite to last. The first one, it's not my favorite, but I'll explain why. It's still a very good money maker, is rent to rent. So there's hundreds of different types of rent to rents, by the way, but I'm going to focus on the 2 relatively basic ones, a HMO and a serviced accommodation. So an HMO is where you're renting out the rooms of a property, basically, on a monthly basis. So a rent-to-rent HMO is you will rent a house as a whole. Let's say it's a 5-bed semi-detached property, and you'll pay a monthly rent for that. What you will then do is rent out the rooms individually. So typically in my area, you would rent a 4-bed house with 2 reception rooms, and you'll pay maybe £1,200 a month for that. And then obviously you've got your council tax, your bills, etc. on top. But then what I would do is I would rent out the 4 actual bedrooms and rent out one of the reception rooms, chuck a bed in it, bedside table, that sort of thing. Probably rent it closer to about £500 a month. If you're fully tenanted, you've got £2,500 coming in. You're going to have maybe £100 a room per month for bills, so 500 quid plus the 1,200, 1,700. Hey, wicked, I'm making £800 a month profit. All sounds dandy, right? Apart from the fact that, number one, what's the chance of getting 100% occupancy as you scale that up? Very low. Most HMO averages at about 80% occupancy. And then, of course, you need management on top, if that's where you're going to go. So, do I hate it? No. I actually got started with them. I had 14 rent-to-rent, so I made about £500 a month each one. So I made about 7 grand a month profit, and then I got rid of them with a strategy, which I'll get to in a moment. So, it's very good to get you started. It's very, very low cost of entry. And the reason for that is typically you are focusing on the awkward properties at the beginning. You're not really going for these nice properties where you need to put in 10, 20 grand, whatever it is. Usually you're going to an HMO lettings agent that as a property that's missed the student cycle, it's in a decent enough area where it can go to young professionals rather than the students, and you're going to rent it at a bit of a lower amount. And this is how I started it anyway. I'm not saying it's the only way. And that way I didn't have to put down deposits. I didn't have to pay out loads. I got the landlord to give me 3 months rent free, so it got me a time to get the profit in. And worst case scenario is I just gave the property back if it didn't work for me, but they all did because we made sure to analyze the areas. So it's a pretty decent way of going. The reason I wasn't a massive fan of it is because it's like having a job, which is fine, but at random points. So it wouldn't be like other strategies where you could get it up and running and then just, oh, I'll deal with it in the evening. Well, if a tenant wants to view and they can only do 10 a.m. on Wednesday, what do you do? What do you do when you get a call from the tenant saying the light bulb's gone out or there's a leak in the middle of the day? You can't go, I'm at work. So it's really difficult, in my experience, to do a rent-to-rent HMO and be in a full-time job. So if you've got flexibility in your job, great, that can be good. Rent-to-service accommodation is very similar, but you're renting out a unit, a flat or a house. Make sure you've got permission if it is on a flat, and then you're renting out by the night. okay, and you've got guests rather than tenants. I quite like this strategy. The downside is way more complex than people think. Your occupancy rates will be nowhere near what people think. If you do your analysis correctly, you'll probably get closer to 70% occupancy across the year. You need to be breaking even at 50%. If it doesn't break even, do your numbers before at 50%. Do not touch it with a barge pole, in my opinion. And the reason I prefer this rather than rent-to-rent HMO is you're making enough money usually to get a management agent. Don't just go with your run-of-the-mill lettings agency, though. If they go, I manage buy-to-lets, I manage HMOs, I manage service accommodation, no, they don't. You need somebody that specializes in managing service accommodation units, because there's turnarounds, there's cleans, there's everything in between. There's a lot more management heavy than any other management that I've seen. So I much prefer that rather than the rent-to-rent HMOs, just my personal opinion. The next one is, honestly, I would say one of the best strategies for 2024, and it's called lease options. So I've actually done videos on lease options. I'm never too hot on lease options, apart from when the macro environment allows for it, which 2024, the environment is perfect. We've got political shit going on. We've got interest rates going crazy. People struggling. I know that's not nice to say, but it's true. But people need certain exits. And a lot of people think, oh, it must only be in negative equity, which, by the way, negative equity is when the value of the property is lower than the debt on the property, i.e., they can't physically sell the property because the debt on the property is higher than the value. What? Yes, so people will do long-term lease options on them to help them out. However, there's also people in unique situations. So something I come across quite a lot actually is portfolio landlords. So there's a few that I'm dealing with right now, but there'll be a multi-million-pound portfolio, a decent amount of equity in them. They own them in their personal name rather than in a business, which before Section 24 was the thing to do. And they'll have this motivation to exit quickly. So, for example, let's say it's a £2 million portfolio. They've got 1.4 million debt on it. So they've got 600,000 in equity. You'd think, well, the best thing for them to do, if they genuinely want to get out, is just sell it. Well, actually, let me give a specific example. We've got some where they're high income taxpayers. So they're paying 40% already, which means that if you sell them all off, the capital gains tax is going to be really high. The other thing is a lot of them, and this specific person, needs the money for a development that they're going into. Okay, so they need something like 250,000 now in order to do it. But they've got 15 years left on the mortgage. And so, what exactly is a lease option, and how do I take advantage of it? Well, a lease option is giving you the right, but not the obligation to buy this property at a price agreed today at a future point in time. For example, you might need to watch that bit back. For example, if I've got this property, I'll give a property in the portfolio, for example. So it's a property that is worth 200,000 all day long. I've got agreed to buy it at 170,000 in the next 15 years, which means at any point between now and then, I can buy that property at 170 grand. And you might think, well, why not buy it now? Well, because I don't need to. So I can benefit from all of the cash flow in the meantime. I have to pay for their mortgage directly in any work. So anything like owning the property I would pay, I am going to pay, but I don't need to actually own it. But you might go, Jamie, but you're not benefiting from the capital growth. Correct, because I don't own the property. However, I have the right to buy it at any point in time for 170,000. So I've got full control of the asset. I'm doing a lot of these at the moment, and very typically, I'll take on probably, say £1 million portfolio, I'll probably need to put in about £50,000. Whereas if I purchased that, I'd need to put in 250,000 plus all of the fees and the mortgages that come along with that. By the way, worth saying, it really is the strategy of 2024. And if you want to learn more about lease options, make sure to subscribe to this channel because I'm doing a full breakdown video in 2 weeks' time. Make sure you're subscribed because you do not want to miss that. And finally, my favorite is deal packaging. Now, if you don't know what deal packaging is, think of it like you're an estate agent, but instead of representing the property person, the vendor, you're representing the investor. So deal packaging is matchmaking. It is the fastest way, bar none, of making money in property. It's the fastest, the lowest risk, and the lowest cost of entry. All you really need is money for your education, bit of marketing spend, and compliance. Like, if you can get hold of $3,000, and that could be a credit card, a loan. For me, I started with credit cards and loans of $33,000 at the beginning of my journey, right? And it was all in deal packaging, and I got a mentor at the time as well to fast track my journey, and I made $153,000 in my first year. But I usually say to people, you can make 6 figures within 12 months. And all you're really doing is doing your marketing to attract people. This video is content, but also marketing, right? Then I'll get a lead in, and normally I'll do a video saying, hey, if you're interested in this, put this in the comments. For example, and this is a pitch to you right now as a live example, if you're finding value in the YouTube channel, but you realize you need to invest in yourself and actually back yourself, genuinely do this, but you want to have a one-to-one consultation with myself or my team for free to find out a bit more about your journey in 2024 and if we can even help you, put education in the comments right now. And genuinely do that. If you're ready to back yourself this year, put education in the comments right now and we'll have a chat and see how we can help you. So then what happens is you do that for an investor, which you would have seen on my channel as well. You add value, you get a lead, you book an appointment, you qualify the people to see even if you can help them. Then you put a proposal forward to them, and if it works, you get a sale. And that's called the LAPS process: lead, appointment, proposal, and sale. Ultimately, that's what you do in deal packaging. You get leads in for vendors and investors, you book appointments to qualify them, you put proposals in front of them, you get the sale, you match them together, and you can make £10,000 a month relatively quickly. And what I usually say is you can get a job replacing income within 90 days, and you can get a 6-figure income within 12 months with none of your own money going in, no tenant problems, no need to get mortgages. So if you've got any CCJs, anything like that, it doesn't matter, and no ongoing liability. It is the entrepreneur's paradise, and in fact, it's how I made my first million net worth, was all through deal packaging. I got deal packaging. We're up to about 3 million a year now in deal packaging. We've got scope to get to 1 million a month in the next 3 years. So it's not only a starter packaging thing, which a lot of people do it in property. It's also something that hopefully we've proven is a scalable business. It's what this whole YouTube channel is built off of the back of. It's all funded by the money that comes from deal packaging. So honestly, if you're ready to back yourself, you're ready to invest in yourself and go all in 2024, put education in the comments. And we're going to teach you not only about deal packaging, we're going to teach you about lease options. We're going to talk to you about assisted sales, exchange delayed completion, developments, flips, everything you can imagine in property. We do it all in one place. And if you're ready for that, put education in the comments below. If you did get value, please hit that like button. It seems like a 2-second thing could do nothing, but it really adds value to me and the team. And by the way, if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe. We're going to go through some real money-making things, especially in the next couple of weeks, so that you can make your first 6 figures in 2024. Hit subscribe and the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.